All right, what is success? What is working hard? What is what does it mean to do well when you do something? And something I think is smart to think about is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And for example, I have a story about the trailer. I was hauling a bunch or yeah, of gravel in the trailer, and basically I was just gonna go and do one load and it was overfilled, and so it actually messed up the axle and ended up blowing out the tire, and I was stuck on the side of the road for hours trying to get the trailer lifted with jacks that weren't rated for the amount of weight with all the gravel in there, and then trying to change the tire and stuff because the tire blew out because it was bent in, rubbing against the trailer. The axle was uh, basically had too much weight and couldn't handle that. So that basically is what I'm saying is working hard and doing like what is success. And I'd almost rather get less done and do stuff well without having problems. Like be really careful about what you do and how you do it, because otherwise a simple task of just hauling gravel, it ends up being an all-day job just getting rescued on the side of the road. So that's why I think some days it's like, oh, you only did a couple little simple tasks, but at least you did stuff that you got it done, you were successful, and like it ends up being a big delay when you damage something, like your trailer gets ruined, so then you got to redo the axle and everything. I'll show you actually the trailer's getting worked on, and here, so redoing the whole axle. Dad's been working on it. This is my dad's trailer, and so like some days it's like, oh, I didn't get anything done, but it's like, well, you didn't get hurt, you didn't have something bad happen, your body, you're not in the hospital like just trying to recover, you're not backtracking is what I'm saying. When you're something happens, weren't careful enough with how much weight of gravel was being put in the trailer, which I should have been really careful about, but they over they put in too much. That was their mistake, and I wasn't paying close enough attention to realize that they put in too much. So yeah, that's why I was saying some days it's like, oh, didn't get anything done, but it's like, yeah, but you didn't break the trailer. And then you got weeks of repairing and doing things. So it's almost like some days doing nothing is more successful than doing something, feels like. And kind of gets demoralizing. So I think what I'm saying with that is that, yeah, just work thoughtfully and carefully when you're doing things. And some days you might haul a whole load of gravel, other days it's just a couple little simple things, but those, if you do different things poorly, like drive your car and you're too tired and get in an accident, and then you're like, oh, I was just trying to push myself too much, and then now you're dealing with car damage, whatever, stuff like that. So like some guys go get married, have family, kids, and everything, and then have the family get divorced and separated and everything, and it's like, so was that success or not, and then have to restart. Sometimes they lose their house or go bankrupt and stuff. So it's like, is this really, like, was that successful? Um, and some people that are just like, yeah, I'm happy I at least had the kids and whatever it is. But other people, they're either more patient or they I don't know, do a better job at finding the right type of person and don't rush into it, and then deal with a lot less long-term problems, because these end up being issues that you're dragged on for years. Deal with child custody, child support, juggling the kid, not being able to move because you want to see the kid, but the ex lives wherever they're living, so you're kind of tied down and stuck there. It's like different choices we make end up having these like long term effects. And even if you make a ton of money, you can lose it all and end up being like having to restart all over again. So it's just important to, like, it's almost better to just be like, well, don't get married, don't rush into it, don't, just take your time, don't just mess around with everybody, find the right people for your life, because you end up being lonely and let down in the long run if you're just kind of hanging out with everybody that doesn't really even care. So you're just out there having fun. Eventually you need somebody, and then you're like, oh, who do I need, who can I rely on? But yeah, it's like using your time well, connecting with the right people. Relationships are like a huge part of life, making good choices and everything, and not helping to avoid more mistakes, unnecessary things. But yeah, like working hard and success. It's kind of like when I was doing a painting project. I worked really hard. I was trying to paint all the time and hours and hours of effort, but I kept getting frustrated because it wasn't turning out the way I wanted it to, and things were getting stuck on the project. I should have plasticed off everything, like plasticed the whole deal, so then there's no dust and debris type stuff that can float around in the air, because there's all these little particles in the air you won't even know about, like little pieces of hair and all sorts of stuff. So using plastic helps to kind of like, yeah, cuts down all that. But if you learn through trial and error, and or anyways working really hard, doesn't mean you're successful necessarily, because you're like, success is getting the project done, right, and doing a good job so it looks right, so you're happy with it, because nothing seems to turn out perfect in life, and then there's always something that you're like, oh, I need to work on that, I need to make that better, I need to, it's not done well enough, I'm gonna have to redo it, like my curtains on my windows in the RV. It's like they did the dimensions and didn't add any, like the exact dimensions of the window size, and didn't add any extra, like, what's it, I forget the words for it, but add some more length, so then it has some ruffle to it, forget the words, and fullness, I think is the word, and that will, it's easier when you're closing the curtains to not have them like pull too far, because then you got extra fabric on the ends and stuff, so you're not like having to pull it one way and then readjust it, pulling it back and forth, because it barely covers the window is what I'm saying. So it's like, sure, success, curtains expensive, paid for, get it project done, custom project sewed together, but then kind of not happy, real happy with the results, and gonna need to redo it probably at some point because it'll work. It'll be fine. It looks way better than anything has than it was ever before. Like the stuff that when I first bought the Harvey, the curtains were like flowers and like really old looking, dirty, nasty, and so I was like, this needs to change. And then I ended up doing green towels that I used to kind of cover the windows for a long time. So then now it's got the nice shiny curtains on there and nice white with a kind of a silver sheen. Looks like a Christmas present unwrapping. So it's definitely nice, but yeah, you can work really hard and then have things keep having to redo it or having mistakes done. And I almost feel like a lot of times I'd rather get less done and just do it right. Where you're like, I don't feel like I need to go back and recorrect it a bunch and not have to. Because sometimes, like plowing forward, like let's get a bunch done all at once right now. And then it's really difficult sometimes to have it all turn out as well as you'd prefer it to. So kind of pushing too fast and rushing and like, oh, let's take more gravel in the trailer than what is going to be a good. Look at the trailer. And then it's like, oh, now it's broken for weeks. Like, even if I was doing it on purpose, which I didn't try to overload it, but if I was to just be like, I want to just try and push it to see if we can get more to go, and then ends up being broken. So we're, like I was saying, repainting stuff over and over again because it's not turning out well where I'm happy with it. So working hard versus just working smart. I'd rather work smart than working really hard, because working hard doesn't get the job done to the standards that you would prefer it to be at, or whatever results that someone else might like it to be if you're doing it for someone else. So taking your time, even if it's doing a little bit at a time. You're like, well, I only got a couple things done today. Yeah, but those were done right, and you didn't break a bunch of stuff, and you're not set back where it's like now costing you a bunch more money to have to do repairs and have to fix stuff, and it's kind of demoralizing. I'd rather just get, like, you know, a couple handfuls of gravel. Be like, we got, a bucket, a wheelbarrow or two of gravel. We're good to go. We don't need to break the trailer. I'd rather just like paint just a little bit, figure it out, get it done right, and get it tuned in exactly the way I want it to be, versus kind of like plowing forward to do a bunch of stuff all at once, which is what I did. I was spray painting too many things at once on the painting project inside the RV. Spray painted a whole bunch of stuff, and I was trying to paint a whole bunch of stuff at once, and that didn't turn out well. And then tried to do a little less things at a time, little fewer things, and that still wasn't turning out because I wasn't taking the time to like really research and figure out. Just be like, no, it's not about working hard, it's about working smart. Go and research, take your time to figure out more details about how to make things turn out as best as you can, so it's worth your effort and time, because otherwise you're just working really hard. And then, like, is that successful? You're like, yes, I work hard every day, I'm a hard worker, like the concept of I'm a hard worker. I'd rather have a smart worker, is what I'm saying, than just a hard worker. Someone who works really smart, even if you only got a few things done that day, you didn't break anything and set back the whole team. Or, because it's a domino effect. It's like I was using the trailer to haul gravel, and then that was my dad's trailer, and then he's having to fix it. And I'm helping him out here and there. And, yeah, it's like, a bummer that just pushing forward to just get stuff done is not what I would say the best thing in life. It's like, I gotta get a girlfriend, gotta get married. Yeah, but then if you divorce and you lose everything, you have to restart. That was, now you're kind of have to like backtrack, and you've had a lot of negative experience, then you have trust issues, and it's harder to be motivated to get going again and to say, I'm willing to find another person. And yeah, you learn, you have a learning experience, but some people already figured it out before they did it, and they take their time, and they weren't rushed into like moving in together with somebody, didn't rush into getting married to somebody. Those are usually the best relationships. People that are patient and thoughtful, careful, and loving. So, yeah. Yeah. Good boy, bud. You. Yeah. So, but yeah, like exercising, I think is key. Like get outside, be outside some every day, work out, do little sit-ups, little push-ups, do some things that are gonna help you feel good, be able to sleep well, eat careful and healthy, whatever you're eating. Like be thoughtful about like, hey, it's not making me feel good. What's making me feel like junk? Stop eating that. Do something different. And yeah, like eating food that's good stuff. More vegetables and fruits, salads, things like that. And definitely gonna feel better. Because you don't need as much of all the vitamins and stuff if you can just get those through the things you're eating that are natural. But work smart, not so hard all the time, I say. Because working really hard is not necessarily successful. Like some days you moved a lot of gravel, and yeah, you worked really hard, and yeah, it got a lot done. And that's great. But like having the expectations and trying to make every day one of those big push days where you're like, I would say set smaller goals. Be happy and successful and don't overdo it. And then when you can achieve things well, regularly, then you can set your goals to a standard that makes sense to where you're able to consistently succeed at what you're doing. And in general, it doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna have things that are setbacks where you're like, oh, that didn't work out the way I wanted to. So just trying to be happy with little things every day that you succeed at. Brush your teeth in the morning, success, bam. Work out a little bit, get outside, stand with your feet on the ground, called grounding. Like, sit on the ground, lay down if you can, whatever. And spend some time outside. Because I have to do that for myself. I have to, like, say, hey, get outside, because I don't even feel like doing it a lot of times. Don't always want to. Don't always feel like walking, doing anything. But my goal is to have community and friends and people around me and or on the internet world who are all kind of like, hey, yeah, let's do the same stuff. Walk around, make your own video, talk about some stuff in life, teach some people some things, some skills, some life lessons that you might have learned because that helps people feel good. Because it's hard to feel good if you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna drink and do drugs and just like feel good, use other things, medications, whatever medicine, to just only use that to feel good. And it's like not gonna work or last forever, and you're gonna really rely heavily on those things if you're not eating good food, organic, natural, healthy, careful with all this like modified whatever, modified cornstarch or food starch or whatever. There's nitrates and whatever, all this nasty stuff that they put in the foods. If it's too big of a word, you can't hardly say it, then you probably shouldn't be eating it. And why is there a health section in a store? What's that mean? The other stuff is like death food, not healthy food? Sounds like it, seems like it. Not health food. It's like go to the doctor, spend all your extra money working on fixing your body, because I'd say like take care of yourself better. Exercise, brush your teeth, take care of your health, because then it's not as expensive for all this other medical stuff. Develop good habits where it's fun. Get other people to support you and to encourage you to do these things every day. Say, hey, come do this. You don't have to show your face, you could sis. Be like, oh, there's a big dog. He's a good ours. Hi. Yes. You. So, yeah. And then get outside. Let's see if I can set it here. And then do some push-ups. Even if it's like one. Oh, that's pokey in the face. Oh, yeah. Easy. Okay. I got puppies. Yes. Let me get back. Yeah. Yeah. And then do some squats. Ouch. Hey, don't nibble. What are you doing? He was being mouthy. That's why I was telling him ouch, even though it didn't hurt. I was like, hey, don't be mouthy. He gets excited. He's like, I want to play. I want to do something too. And then let's do some sit-ups. I wonder if I can set it in the tree right here. Oop, covering the camera. This must be miserable to watch. Let's pause it. Alright, some sit-ups. Easy. Avoid all the pokey bushes. It's a little slope, so it's an advantage. Alright, buds. Working hard versus working smart. Doing a little less. Less is sometimes more. When you're not having to backtrack and redo things or fix stuff, replace parts, have all these added expenses and costs. That's one of the things I'm saying. Is just, I'd be like, go work out. Don't overdo it. Don't try and push yourself to do something to show off or impress people, like lifting way too much when you really haven't trained high enough and well enough and learned from other people. Learn, is that safe or okay? Like Ronnie Coleman, I believe, like he's just like way overdid it on his body, beat his body up. And some of these guys, it's like they're doing so much to impress and perform and everything, and then it's like forever long-term problems. Like football, the NFL, that stands for not for long, because most people's careers in the football is less than 4 years in the pros. So it ends up being kind of like difficult, because you're like getting paid so much and you're getting all this nice, buying all this nice stuff, nice house, and you're not learning to live minimal, simple, learning to save and invest. You're given all this wealth right away, and then if your career ends, trying to keep up that same standard and a nice house, cars, boats, whatever it is, it ends up being like not the best thing, where it causes people a lot of problems, where they're not able to take care of their finances anymore because they're living too high of a standard. So, and then, so it's like being successful is almost like, it's like great if you became a millionaire and lost it all. Is that successful? But if you got it back somehow, you learned, and then you've learned to keep it. Because it's kind of like this idea of you could be super rich really short time, very quickly, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So then, like, it is a cool story, it's fun and exciting, but it's kind of like nobody cares anymore. If they're like, yeah, that's cool, you were super rich, but now you're not at all. So, but if you've learned from the lessons and somehow regained the wealth and everything, now you've got an incredible story and can teach others how to succeed. But being around good quality, healthy people and being a healthy person yourself is essential for like attracting other good people around you. Because even if I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing this or that, going and working out, exercising, because I don't always feel like doing that, but it ends up being one of the best things I could do for myself, for health and mental and everything, and then eating healthy. And yeah, relationships, if you're with people who don't care about that, then it's difficult to be motivated to do those things or have people encourage you. So it's important to find people who are on similar paths and being careful, because it's really tough when you get depressed and you're demoralized and you're kind of like, I don't even want to do anything anymore, because your relationships fall apart, and then it affects your health, your mental health, and everything sometimes. Usually. So that's why I'd say slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Take your time to build really good relationships. Careful with the drama people. Careful with people who are, I don't know, too possessive, or if they're kind of if they're like getting jealous and stuff, where it's like, oh, this girl likes you and another girl likes you. But you have to be careful how much time and energy you give everyone. If it's kind of like you sense that, this might be an issue. And it's like, because it will be. You'll end up having problems with different things. Like, it was really cool. Had a girlfriend last year. And yeah, she moved in quick, and it came quick and left quick. And a lot of it had to do with, like, it was just like it didn't take her time to figure out, be patient, and like she wasn't very honest with me with a lot of stuff. She was kind of like, oh, I have a cat and we'll maybe have it work out where your dog can be around the cat, but ultimately she just didn't want my dog around her cat at all. So it was like so the I'm like, why are we together if now I'm having to pretty much be asked to find a different place for my dog to live, and then like having the stress of can't have my dog around me as much while I was dating her. I was like, no, this is not good. Don't push relationships to make things work and happen, and then it falls apart, and then you feel depressed for like almost a year and going, and just like, and then you're struggling to get out and be happy and motivated. Like I didn't post videos for a long time and still been struggling to want to like put up video content and stuff, because just like, yeah, don't rush into the wrong relationships. And when you have things kind of knock you down, it can be slower and slower to get up again if you keep on having those negative interactions and experiences. So build yourself up as much as you can and connect with people who are on similar paths, who are not just kind of like slacking and lacking and taking advantage of you in any way, where it's like giving you anxiety to interact with them and stress and feel like drama filled, then it's like maybe think about some other people, because it rubs off on you and you're thinking about it. It could be harder to sleep at night. Relationships are a big part of life. So yeah, this ramble going on for a minute here, huh? I thought it was going to be pretty short little video of just talking about people who are just saying, I work really hard all the time, and I do too at times. I'm like, yeah, I've worked really hard lots of times. And then if you're like working hard on relationships, working hard on hanging out with, you're going to spend time with people, investing time, energy, effort, and then it kind of just falls apart because you weren't even paying attention to the details of like, is this really the best person, or are you just kind of desperate and really just want and need a relationship, friends, whatever. Could be guy friends, girlfriends, whatever, just friends. You're like, oh, they're a cool person. I need somebody to be around. I need people to hang out with. And then it ends up being kind of a burden and a drag, and you're kind of feel like sometimes where you're like, why am I the one who's like giving more than the other, or why is this person doing things that you just don't feel right or agree with? Like the neighbor, hung out with him a bunch and became friends, like helped him out on projects and stuff, and kind of ignored the fact that his dog was never outside. He was always locked in a cage out in the back of the property. So I ended up he was like having me babysit his dog, and like I was like asking him, let's go take the dog out, let's take it for a walk and different things, and he would kind of say, yeah, we'll do that sometime, and just kind of never seen the dog ever get out, and started getting frustrated. But yeah, also was like storing an RV that I got for another veteran that served in Afghanistan with. Got it to help him out, get a place to live, because he was kind of homeless. And then he bailed on me, but the deal is I got the RV and I was storing it at my neighbor's, and because I was helping on projects and trying to build that relationship, but I didn't pay attention to other things that were like, this is a problem. So, because I love dogs and I want dogs to be free and not just stuck in cages and kind of put in the backyard. The cage is like the size of like maybe a minivan or something, like with a high top. It's like not a big cage, maybe 6 foot by 8 foot. I don't know. Maybe 10 foot. I don't know. It's not very big. Kind of sad. So I was like, this guy's heartless. But anyway, he hot wired the RV that I was storing in his house because I didn't let him have the keys. I didn't want him to move it without me. But he needed to move it and just did it without me and then damaged it. And then kind of like just ended up being like, oh, I can't pay to repair it. He was going to try and like put some metal on it, repair the damage. But it's just, anyways, sold it, lost a lot of money on it. But yeah, it was kind of like, ultimately you got to be careful with who you're hanging out with, spending a lot of time with, and then look at not just being like, oh, it's nice to have, you're trying to just focus on, it's like, who do you spend all your energy and time with? You don't want to just hang out with a serial killer every day. Or some sort of person who's like, kind of like a bad guy, or somebody who's like, I would never want my dog to be, I would never want him to, if I gave him my dog, it'd be like, he'd never get outside again. He'd be stuck in a cage the rest of his life. And I'm like, that'd suck. And I'm like, I don't want a friend like that. Especially when you hotwire RV I bought to help out another veteran. And it was an old used RV. It wasn't very expensive, but I put quite a bit of money into it, got new tires for it and stuff, so it'd be safe to drive. But that was a big pain and a hassle. And so, yep. But you can't force people to be good people, and you want to be aware of not just being like, oh, I'm their friend, I like hanging out. What other things about that person to be aware of? In the long run, pay attention. The people, are they well-rounded people? Because otherwise it's not going to be a well-rounded, long-lasting relationship is what I'm saying. Because if they don't really love dogs and they kind of keep them in cages in the backyard, and then they have other flaws too, when you start realizing that they don't have kind of empathy and love and compassion for animals the same way. It's kind of like, do you have a heart? It's broken somehow. Somebody along your history, that's the problem too. Like, his kids are gonna end up not thinking you need to care about a dog, just leaving it in a cage all the time, because that's what their dad did. It just passes down bad habits to people. So it's like, anyways, pay attention. If people have different qualities that are like cool and fun, but if there's different issues, that just be aware of. If there's anything sets off kind of flags of like, this is kind of iffy, you want to really pay attention, because those will probably in the long run create conflict of somehow, something along the way where you're like, I can't trust this person. And it will show up in one way or another. And then it's demoralizing, and you don't feel motivated for life anymore. When you're just working really hard. I was helping my neighbor like move so much rock and stuff to help him redo his driveway and stuff. Did a lot of hard labor, digging and everything, because I was trying to make a relationship. and somebody's really close by and they had a lot of free time. But anyway, kind of like me, but it didn't work out at all. And the same with different relationships, kind of like the same with the girlfriend. I should have recognized right away that it's like, oh, let's not move in together quickly, even though I really would like to have someone around. But slow way down. Because especially if they have things like, they have a cat, and that cat doesn't get along with dogs, and then you're not like, you didn't realize how much conflict that's going to cause with the dog's not allowed inside here because the cat's inside, and I don't want the dog here really at all if you try and find a new place to live, and then you're stuck with all this other problems, and then you end up with no girlfriend. and then you're like, sure, that was great for a short period of time, very short, and then it was just a pain and miserable, and it was like purely just negative. It's like probably one of the most regretful things, honestly, but it was, I learned a lot. Yeah, that's the deal. When you make mistakes, you're just like, man, I really kind of didn't appreciate that was a bad choice. Why was I doing it? That was stupid. Like, each of these people, you don't want to be desperate for relationships and people, because people are all flawed, and we all kind of have different people we connect with, and they're just seems like really great right away. Sometimes in our lives we have different people that come along, they're like, that guy, that girl, guy, whatever, super cool, fun. But it's like, they don't, some of them, they're like, yeah, the most fun people a lot of times aren't, they don't care, they're just focused on themselves, and they aren't necessarily great people to have as long-term friends, because they won't ever be there for you when you need them. They're not going to really care about whatever. They're going to be focused on themselves. So yeah, it's difficult, but that's why people are saying, love God first, follow God, and then all the good people will be in your life. And really, God is love, and so just being aware of like who around me is demonstrating love, being a servant of God, and whatever, helping others, caring for others, animals, taking care of animals, people who are not just putting an animal in a cage and they're actually taking care of it, is going to be a person who's high quality, who's just like people who are rescuing animals, and not just the people who are putting dogs down. I don't know how you could do that job. I would just be like, I'm signing up to be the dude who saves the dogs who are going to be put down, and find a way to not have all this problems. Show people a better path to get on with what's happening. It's a big waste of life and everything. Because there's a lot of people that probably could need and use it, having these animals. And even when you get them from the dog rescues, they're not free. They're not cheap either. My dog was like, look at him. Look at you, bud. I think it was like $350 or $400, maybe $450, I feel like. It's $350 or $450, something like that. It was a lot. I thought it was close to $500. And so that's why. And then, yeah, it's difficult to help everybody, and then you got to take care of the dog and be able to afford the food and stuff like that. There's also lots of food in the country that is just thrown out and gotten rid of, and if people were able to donate foods and things to help support stuff like that, then that could work out, where people who wouldn't be able to afford a dog could afford a dog. Because sometimes it's like, yeah, these guys that can afford a dog aren't good people at all. They shouldn't have a dog at all. And then these people who are some of the most amazing people can't afford a dog or whatever, and need it more than these other people who don't care, won't ever care. So, walk around, exercise, move your body, move your thighs. Don't be just dunking them donuts. Drinking a cup of lies. Yeah. Let's see here. I think it's about water break time. But like walking on uneven surfaces strengthens your stabilizer muscles. A lot of people, including myself, if I don't walk, like if all I'm doing is walking on flat, paved surfaces, which are really hard on your joints and knees and stuff too. Like I think doing this whole off-road stuff, you're kind of naturally gonna be up on your toes and up on, you know, a little bit more, less on just going down on, plodding down on your heels. You're kind of feeling out the ground differently when it's uneven surfaces, and that really helps. I think a lot of people, like old people in my opinion, which is all of us, we all get old if we live long enough, we should all be learning how to fall, because a lot of people are getting injuries from falling, how to catch yourself, how to practice exercising properly. Because I'm saying a lot of people, they exercise, they go walk on the treadmills, they go walk just on all this concrete pavement on the tracks and stuff, and then you realize that you have all these weak ankles, weak stabilizer muscles, which leads to injuries and stuff like that. But it's not so much about how quick you go. It's not like, yeah, you don't have to run, just walk, and then if you needed to, do a little jog, just a trot, just like, don't even feel like, we call this the airborne shuffle, okay? And this can go a little quicker, a little slower, but it's just above a walking pace. It's just a hair above a normal walk, and you can stretch out the walk, but you could do the bounce, airborne shuffle style, and it's just moving your body. It's getting out there, using your stabilizer muscles, because then you can actually avoid injuries and exercise your body, feel good. Yeah. But yeah, stabilizer muscles, that helps. Prevent falls and stuff, because people take a wrong step or do whatever, and you know, it helps with your balance. All the stabilizer muscles help with keeping your body capable of walking longer, not falling and getting hurt because your body's getting weak from just bad habits of only walking on perfect level ground. But like, if you haven't been running or doing a lot of exercise, like, take it really easy. Don't overdo it, which is what I'm doing. I haven't been walking and running and exercising for a long time, so I'm just doing a little, like a long walk here. I was just originally going to do a little bit for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. And I was going to just talk about working hard versus smart type of thing. Because I could have gone running on this ground right now, sprinting, work really hard, and then roll my ankles or basically pull my muscles and strain myself, and then not really be able to work out for a week or two or longer. So it's great, you worked hard, you got a lot done in a short period of time quickly, but with bad habits, and now deal with an injury and you're set back. Time, motivation goes down. Sometimes it costs money to have your body fixed. So then you're like, okay, that was cost more money, more time, more energy in all the wrong ways. But yeah, like working out, that protects your body from a lot of health problems, heart problems, and doing just a little bit every day whenever you can versus just trying to go crazy hardcore every once in a while is key for long-term consistent strength. Yes. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, do whatever you choose. Join the crew, watch some more, encourage me to make more content, shorter or longer, whatever you like, but do something healthy and good for your body is what I say. And connect with the right people. Don't waste your time watching me. If you think that I suck, go somewhere else. Find somebody that you do enjoy watching and who you want, like, you know, where you feel like leaving good comments with people. Don't just watch content and waste time talking crap to people who don't need to hear it and waste your energy in the wrong places. You'll find yourself much more successful and motivated, because I've done all the wrong things in a lot of ways. I've done things right and done things wrong with relationships, so I know, because I've had to restart lots and lots of times. Yay. Talk to you later. Puppy squad. Yes, you. Hi. How are you? Yeah. You good boy. Yes, you are. Yeah.